203, take two. Markers.
Okay, roll camera. Quiet, please. Quiet, please.
All right. So Skip, can you just again tell us introduction, name, and your role on Catch a Contractor?
My name is Skip Bedell. I'm the co-host of Spike TV's Catch a Contractor. I'm a licensed home remodeling contractor.
So tell us how much experience you have as a contractor.
Well, I've been around this pretty much all my life. My father and grandfather were both builders and carpenters, craftsmen. So I grew up with tools in my hand, and I started my own business about 14 years ago. And I love what I do. I'm very passionate about my work, and it's a great thing to be able to take what I do and help people with, especially on this show.
Do you have a specific specialty, construction-wise?
Home remodeling. We mostly do residential. That's really my specialty. Everything from complete remodels, the bathrooms and kitchens and basements, and then of course all the other stuff that goes along with it, repairing roofs and siding and windows, and basically everything for the house.
Tell us a little bit about what you learned from season 1 of Catch a Contractor in regards to how you approach the stain, how you approach the families, and how you approach the contractors.
Well, what I can definitely tell you about season 1 is nobody saw us coming. So when we got to the sting houses, these guys were, who the hell are you guys? What are you doing with the cameras? Now it's a little bit different. We have a little bit different approach. We're going in kind of at a different angle, but the same goal in mind. And I think we go in maybe a little more poised this time. It's not so much all aggression and attack mode, because what we found is guys tend to not want to cooperate and they just get scared off, and a lot of them took off, and that doesn't help anybody. So this time we're kind of going into it a little bit differently, a little bit more from a technical standpoint, and ultimately trying to get them to come back and do the right thing.
What about how you approach even the families? Like this, we saw season 1, it's an emotional thing for a lot of these families. They lost money, there was sentimental value to their homes and to some of the reasons why they were doing the construction. You guys were always pretty sensitive to that, but if you learned that, there might be more to it than meets the eye in season 2.
So, this is always a huge issue. There's always big emotions involved, because this is a big deal. It's people's homes. This is where they go home and sleep at night. It's where they feed their families and take care of their children. It's one of the biggest assets they have. And when they trust someone and give them all of their savings sometimes, a lot of times the people give them all the money they have, and they wind up getting nothing. And in a lot of cases, they're worse off than they were when they started with these people. There's always big emotions. So going into season 2, we've learned a lot from season 1, and our approach is a little bit different. But at the end of the day, our ultimate goal is always the same. It's to give these people back the quality of life. It's to give them back their home, and to give them what they set out to get in the beginning. And along the way, if we're fortunate enough that we can school this contractor, and if he actually plans on staying in this business after we're done with him, which many of them don't, then hopefully he learned a couple of lessons, and maybe it'll be the last time he does this to anyone. So,
correct me if I'm wrong, but in season 1, it seemed like, if you found out that the contractors they didn't have knowledge, they weren't trying maybe to rip them off, they just did things wrong because they didn't know, so maybe they shouldn't be contractors. But when you found that guys were knowingly taking shortcuts and putting people in dangerous and potentially life-threatening situations, that seemed to really push your buttons.
Right.
And is that a fair statement?
Yeah, so it's a very fair statement. In season 1, we saw a couple different types of characters, and we learned a lot about these people, the contractors, that is. They're just outright criminals. There's these guys that go out there and basically never had any intention of doing the right thing. That's a small percentage, I think. I think, some of them set out to really just defraud people, and, they take as much money as they possibly can, do as little work as possible, keep talking a good game. And that's the one common thread that we see with all these guys. Every one of them are great talkers. They'd all make great salesmen, but a lot of them, that's pretty much all they are. There's that guy, and then there's probably the most common is that maybe they set out with good intentions, but they just didn't know how to get the job done. They just don't have the skills. And again, they're good salesmen, so they came across, they earned the people's trust. They got the money out of them, they got the signed contract, but they didn't have what it takes to get the job done right. And ultimately, it's the same result. Still, their house is torn apart. Their families, in most cases, are torn apart. We've come across some cases where the husband and wife are actually going to split up because it's just been such a tumultuous situation, and now they're left with a place they can't even feed their own children or come home to a safe environment. They can't even live in their home. So when we get to the guys that get in over their head, is is kind of, it's a different character, and our goal is always the same for the homeowners. It's always to help them, and at the end of the day, they're going to get their house back no matter what. But the guy that got in over his head, we feel it's our responsibility to kind of educate him and make sure that he knows what he's doing moving forward. Either that, or make sure that he gets out of the business altogether.